All right, we are live, and I'm just sitting here on the couch, ready to have some real cool conversations with Emmanuel Zavios here. So thanks so much for joining. Todd Cale here, and I'm excited to be with my great friend Emmanuel Zavios for another Wednesday talk about a lot of different things that we talk about. But today is really unique because it's this topic about feeling safe. So, Emmanuel, I'm going to start off just by having you share a little bit about this. And every time that we come on, we always talk about the conscious and the subconscious side. I know that you're an expert at what you do on the subconscious side, and we'd love to hear. A lot of people might be watching this live, or they're going to be in the replay, and that the whole feeling safe, and this really can dwindle into romantic relationships and how important it is to feel safe in romance. It's important to feel safe at a job. It's important to feel safe pretty much everywhere. And really, Maslow's law talks about the hierarchy of human motivation. The bottom one is that safety and security one that we're all motivated by first and foremost. So tell us a little bit. I want to start off this conversation with you today, and just tell us a little bit about the subconscious side, something that, and I'll kind of piggyback up what you say on the conscious side. But we'll kind of go from there. And of course, Emmanuel, if you're just watching this, he's a body code, emotion code practitioner, certified in so many different ways. One of the top body code practitioners in the world, top ranked, practice in the world as well. If you follow him on YouTube, follow him on Facebook. I know you could talk about where to follow you also in that P word. I forget, is it Pathio, or how do you say that?
Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon. Yeah, I got to look into that too. That's pretty awesome. But I'm so excited to be with you again on this Wednesday. So I'll pass it to you, and we'll kind of piggyback back and forth. Appreciate you.
First of all, I just have to admire your hair. I mean, we just both have really cool hair right now, and I think it's just everyone needs to know this in the world. First of all, I just want to just say that I'm so grateful to be on here. Obviously, I like being around people who are very self-motivated, committed, and they've just done a lot of great things and continue to add value. Todd, in many ways, could have been retired a long time ago, but he chooses to keep serving people. So grateful for your leadership and grateful for your friendship. So I just want to first of all share, in the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. So obviously, my department and the Inside Out company that we created is to kind of tap into the subconscious. And one of the things that I've noticed, and I took some notes here, is one of the three areas of sort of the subconscious is safety, congruency, and frequency. This is really interesting. I think you guys might appreciate this. So safety has everything to do with learned associations, which is basically childhood programming. So very early childhood, we're constantly going like, ow, okay, don't touch that, and oh, this doesn't feel uncomfortable being in front of a room. We're literally programming ourselves to what we feel safe in and what we don't feel safe in. Your parents can have a huge influence. Inherited emotions, energies from your great grandfather, who he went into a lake, freaked out in nature, and then that energy of fear went all the way down to you, and all of a sudden you have fear of nature or fear of going into nature. But learned associations is kind of like the safety area. Congruency, I really found this kind of interesting. Another energy healer called it being brain free, or they called super conscious, which is another word of saying sort of the higher self, which existed without a nervous system or physical body. So the physical body and the nervous system is what kind of makes us react the way we react. But the higher self doesn't have that, and so I kind of thought it was kind of interesting. The brain-free system, the surface consciousness, which is us observing certain things, which is the captain of the ship, and then the subconscious is the crew. So it's kind of, I love how he put it. The subconscious is the crew. We're the captain of the ship. Hey, let's go this way, and the crew's like, we're going the other way. I don't know what you're doing over there. And so I just think it's very, very important to realize that with energy healing, we have to tap into the crew. The crew is what's going to really lead the boat where you want to go. But unfortunately, the captain's been programmed, and we need to understand that there's a way to reverse it. But I know, Todd, you've had a lot of success in regards to there's a book, I think it was by Jennings. It was like, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I feel like someone who's probably felt safe many, many times, and you've had to do something to kind of I'm going to do it even though I don't feel safe. And maybe under repetitive, consistent doing that all of a sudden you can override your system, override your nervous system.
Right.
So how did you do that? I want to ask you, when you were going through hard times, you didn't feel safe, what did you do to override? And then I'll talk about how you could do it on the subconscious side too.
Well, what was powerful for me is obviously the introduction of what you do. We'll start with obviously the book that you introduced me to, the Emotion Code. And I think you brought up a word congruent. And I think that's important because I've always wanted to feel congruent with my emotions. I always kind of envy people that are kind of soft spoken and very like this. It's almost
Hmm.
like they're very vanilla, but at the same time, I don't because I like the fact that I'm kind of like this. Like sometimes I get really excited, sometimes I get really down. But I think it is important now that I'm 40 to stay in that congruency of my own emotions. And I think in order for us to feel safe, I think we have to feel safe in our own bodies, within our own emotions. Because, if you don't have that kind of healing from your past, but also in that very present moment that we're in now, you're also creating kind of the past in the present because literally this morning is already your past. So if you
Yeah.
don't really know how to live congruent in your emotions in this very day, you're going to keep repeating the past. And it hasn't been always easy for me, but I think the biggest thing that I can stress is just getting that congruent in your emotions and being like this stable no matter what's happening to you because you've done a lot of the interior work. That's not saying you shouldn't get excited sometimes. I mean, when I get fired up, especially in business, like I'll go crazy, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm not like, hey, Emmanuel, I'm very excited to be on this, Zoom, call today. I like to, I like the tonalities, but I'm just saying, as far as emotionally though, it's not
Yeah.
about excitement. It's just about, whatever circumstances or situations that you're being put in, that
Yeah.
you're safe within your own self, because
Yeah.
that also will attract negative or positive. So I think
Yeah.
if we can focus on ourselves, then we can attract that safe environment, even in relationships, partnerships, romantic relationships, et cetera, et cetera. So I love that you brought that up because that's something that we all can work on, because we are the difference. We could be the change agents, us individuals, and not always rely on environments or rely on other people to create an abundance in ourselves. I think we can do that ourselves. And then, therefore, our environments can change, or relationships can change for the better.
Yeah, I love the way you put that. Is I always look at integrity. So integrity, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I love this quote. I'm going to butcher it, but it's something to the extent of like when you're the same person behind closed doors to your family and the community, and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like sometimes, for example, there's a movie called Donnie Darko. I'm interested in like psychological thrillers. I don't know why. There's
Yeah.
probably baggage behind that, but I love kind of like analyzing the main character, the protagonist and antagonist. Like what was he going
Mm-hmm.
through? Why would you think that? And it's interesting
Mm-hmm.
how Patrick Swayze was this amazing self-development coach, and he would come into this school and basically like broadcast of this powerful, empowered man who has all his philosophies right. But
Mm-hmm.
he was involved in child pornography, and then he got caught with it, and then the whole town was just shocked because he wasn't having integrity, and he
Mm-hmm.
showed later on at the end of the film that the main character, who you thought was like fearful, scared of this world, hates the world, pessimistic, actually slept calmly while he was like shivering with sweat, and like he didn't sleep well at night, even though he
Yeah.
pretended out there that he was this amazing self-development guru. So
I got to see that movie. That's with Jake Gyllenhaal, right?
yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
I'm a fan. I'm
I
a
gotta,
fan. So,
yeah.
so I think one of the things is that it's really important that if you go up to speak on stage, that
Mm-hmm.
if you are, there are so many ways you can fake it till you make it, and you exude that. But I've
Yep.
heard, and many sort of psychologists have said that it's a form of brain damage if you're constantly incongruent. When you know something's right but you do it anyway, or you feel
Mm-hmm.
this way and then you act this way, it's like
Yeah.
there's brain damage happening when you're doing that. So the goal would be to be like, if you feel confident in the inside, then you exude it in the outside, and to keep that congruent. So I love that word you just put in there.
Yeah, and I'll say something to your point too, because here's what a lot of people are struggling with right now is this imposter syndrome. And I think like in order to be like even like a coach or even like an authority figure of a certain topic, like people think like they could be imposters because their life is not fully situated, maybe there's certain problems in their life, but they're really working proactively. So it's not so much they're fake it till you make it always. It could be literally they're on the path and they are getting congruency with themselves, but they still don't feel like they can, do the certain things that they, and I have to tell everyone, you can, like, as long as you're
Yeah,
working on yourself, you don't have to, there's no one's perfect, and you're not going to get to this point where you're just, incredibly awesome. It could take you 70 years
yeah,
to be there. So don't wait. But as long as you're on this path of growth and you're working on the safety within yourself, and also just that month after month, the habits that you're creating, you versus your routine, that actually is working for you, then you really can be an authority. And then, of course, that comes the monetization, that comes the branding, that comes the message. And pretty soon, a year later, 2 years later, you look back and there's a crowd like that Forrest Gump movie, when he kind of not gets pissed off, but when he gets those shoes because Jenny leaves him, but she buys him those Nikes, and he just starts running. So that was his way to share. And then all of a sudden, a while later, they have a lot of people following him, and then he just stops. But that's really what happens in leadership. As long as you start running, as long as you started taking massive action to grow yourself within yourself, and then also the broadcast message that you're sending out. And that's where you come in, because you can literally change someone's broadcast message. I mean, that has to do with your vibrations, the messages that you're sending out subconsciously. You could send out a message like, hey, abuse me, everybody. Hey, everyone, take advantage of me. Hey, everyone, I'm just a nice guy, so take advantage of me. So you can actually change that through the emotion code, body code modality, where it's like, I'm valuable. I love myself. No one will take advantage of somebody that truly loves themselves, and they set up boundaries. And that's really how you're safe, is setting up the proper boundaries, showing people how to treat you in a very positive way. If you feel like you're getting taken advantage of a lot, or if you feel like you always have a bad day, that's actually the vibration, the energy that you're sending out to the universe yourself. And once I understood that I'm the antenna, that literally how I wake up, how I act, my attitude, my vibration, my energy is going to make or break my day. That's when, this became a real game changer for me with what you do on the subconscious side.
That's awesome. I was also going to say too, I've always said that the most sad part is not the bully that has the kick me sign, but it's after the bullying happens that there's still a kick me sign for the rest of his life.
Yes.
That's always, that's the worst bullying. Or for example, the worst self-abuse is not like, if a bully beats you up, that beating is going to hurt physically, but what the person does to himself behind closed doors is the worst, beat up that you can have, and so I just I really want people to know this, that I'm glad you kind of called out somebody way in the back aisle who's going like, I don't even know if I should listen to these two people. I love how you said that you don't have to be arrived to provide value, and I want to piggyback on what you said is that what's that powerful, you probably know what it is, Earl Nightingale. He said that the first gold CD, he said, or the first gold record in self-development, he said, the success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you're on the way to doing something, that day you're a success. Okay, mind blown, right? It's a lot of people think you have to get there. Once I'm a teacher, then I'll be successful. Or once I speak in front of 1,000 people. No, if you're studying on how to be a great speaker, you're a success that day. And I think a lot of us are just kind of like waiting till the end tunnel, and then we'll finally allow ourselves to be the person that we really want to be. When we don't say, hey, you know what, I've read enough. Why don't I try what I've read, and then I'll be good today. And I think that's something that's very, very important to not only train your conscious, but your subconscious. Tell me one obstacle for you, Todd, like one big obstacle that you're like, I do not feel safe here. And I might even do a session. See, I have like a lot of like tricks up my sleeve, and I may do a session on Todd on the spot, and he doesn't even know I'm going to do this because I
love
can't,
that.
and but I want to know, like, where do you not where have you not felt safe before, and you still kind of plowed through it, be like, I'm going to try to figure this thing out. Like what's a big like theme or big subject?
It just comes with people. I mean, the only time I feel, I'd be a typical thing if you're walking down an alley and it's not the nicest neighborhood. I mean, obviously you're not going to feel so safe, but I think what more you're talking about is really when it comes to certain people. And I'm not going to mention certain names from my past. I don't want to embarrass people, but there are certain people that I really don't want to ever talk to again. And it's not because I'm not a nice guy or I'm not forgiving. It's just I know that they drain my energy. And also there's people that are watching this that might have an ex-husband, an ex-wife, and it's just difficult. They're not the nicest people. And a lot of times I felt unsafe in that in kind of environment. So, from my past, and it just kind of drains your energy a lot. And so I stay clear as much as I can. But sometimes if you have kids with somebody, I understand it. But I think it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago, is setting up boundaries. Because if we can set up boundaries where, obviously, even on Facebook, and women out there, let's say you're an attractive woman. I feel bad sometimes for women because they'll put out some posts and men, dirty, disgusting men, inbox women like it's no big deal. Hey, baby. And somebody, I mean, I've seen some inboxes because I work a lot with women, and like, right away, they're like so like harassing women, sexist pigs. And obviously, women, I think more than anybody, are going to feel the most unsafe just by even posting on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, it's like, so obviously that's what the block button's for. That's what, you just immediately block it. And I feel bad, but just setting up those boundaries and being strong about it and knowing where you're going is very important with clarity. But I've definitely felt challenged in those situations dealing with tough people. And I thought that I could maybe change them because I'm very positive. I have hey, I can change anyone, right? I'm a coach, right? No, that's not true. I can't change a lot of people, actually. I can only inspire and encourage the average person to possibly perform above average. And that's really the true definition of leadership. So certain people you just can't change. So I would stay clear of them if they are not bringing peace in your life. I'm not saying go get a divorce right now. I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, but I'm talking about all relationships, especially in the world of social media. You can literally spend an hour going back and forth in a inbox argument, and that's not doing anything for your safety. That's just draining your energy. So setting up those boundaries, I think, is key to protect your personal energy and keep you feeling safe and happy and positive, and not being focused on anything negative, because like attracts like. So if you focus on the negative, you're going to get more negative. If you focus on positive, you're going to get more positive.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, I was thinking about making this app and then maybe selling it to Facebook or Instagram in regards to like, there was a way to censor men. I think the most traumatic thing for women nowadays, and it literally happens in the millions. I think there's like a pandemic of it happening, is men sending private parts to women, and then women getting fully traumatized that day. Like, it messes them up. I've talked to them as my clients myself, and it, like, they're in a doozy of like never trusting men ever again.
I don't get it. They're not the nice men. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they want to cancel all social media, which means they're willing to sacrifice the relationships they were connecting with that were healthy because of one unhealthy, crazy, narcissistic person. And it's just not right. So I was like, man, I wish I could make an app where it says that, it sends you an alert and it says, this looks like a very X-rated photo. Do you want to block this person out, and do you want to delete this message? It would be so powerful. I think millions of women would love that app, because then they don't have to block themselves from the world and lose complete connection. But what I heard from you is the reality is those relationships you were talking to, what we're really looking for is just that L word, right? Which is love. I really think that's what it is like those people you're talking about, which we'll keep them anonymous, is like you were looking for love, like unconditional love, you and me, and even between men, it's like I don't have any saying like with all my guy friends, I want to have unconditional love. I love you, man. Like there's times where I say I love you, Todd. Like that's just being a real man. We care about someone,
Absolutely.
And so the question is, if I ask your body, is do you feel safe with loving relationships? Because you've attempted many times in your life to say, I wonder if this relationship will be mutual, it'll be unconditional, and it didn't work out the way you wanted to. There was too much gimme, a little too much take, So if you don't mind, maybe we could do a 5-minute session on you real quick. And I know you like being my guinea pig, so.
Yeah, I'm getting really nervous now. But anyway, no, that's fine. Let's do it. But I'll just make one comment. Any guys watching this, let me give you a tip, guys. No woman on this planet. So the number one thing a woman wants is safety. So if some guy even thinks a woman's attractive and even wants to date them, the last thing on planet Earth you want to do is go flirt the wrong way with a woman on Instagram and Facebook. I'm telling you, if they're attractive, they get it all the time. You have to be different. So even men out there, sometimes they're just naive. They don't understand what women want. Women want to be safe. They want to see if they, in a relationship, they want to say, that's my man. He's going to protect me. He's going to keep me safe. That's the first thing and most important thing a woman wants. So when you're like, hey, baby, or hey, you're hot, do you think a woman's like, hey, thank you? Oh my God, my heart is so, oh my God. No, they're going to be like, block, so don't be an idiot, man. Don't be an idiot. Okay. But anyway,
that is worth millions of dollars right there. And I was going to also say too, I have yet to meet the woman that comes back after a man's whistle on the street. Just hasn't happened yet.
With respect, man. You're gonna be different. But yeah, I know we don't have a lot of time, so yeah, if you want to work on me now, just so people can maybe see something live, I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, let's do it. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the emotion code, body code, I'm just going to use muscle testing. I just use my fingers. Typically, you would see a chiropractor pushing down on someone's arm, asking yes and no questions. But with Todd, because we're long distance, I have to do it through my fingers. And then I'll just use, instead of using a magnet on myself, I can just use it on my finger here. And this is kind of like was it Korean? It's Korean acupuncture, where this is the head, this is the neck, this is the spine. So I'm just kind of like, it's almost like I'm rubbing his spine and removing the energy, and it works just fine. So I don't have to looks like I'm combing my hair the whole time. So we're gonna just remove some energies from him. And I just we'll just take 10 seconds real quick. We'll just ask for some help in our mind and just meditate, and then we'll get started. Just do a really quick 5-minute session.
Okay.
All right, and for those viewers out there, can loving relationship have anything to do with Todd's parents? Absolutely. Can it do with his friends earlier in school? Sure. Can it do with does it have anything to do with his great-great-great-grandmother who was divorced, and that energy is still in him? Can that affect him in his safeness for relationships? And the answer is yes. So we're going to see what we find here. So I'm just going to connect with you. I'll say, do you feel safe with loving relationships? And your body says no. So I'm gonna say, what's the biggest thing, just for sake of time, that I can release to make you safe? And what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm a big fan of giving gifts. I'm gonna make sure Todd gets a yes by tonight. But right now we're just gonna just remove like 4 or 5 of them, and it may, after 5, his body might be like, yeah, I'm good to go, and he'll just feel more open and more connected with people because his body feels more relaxed. As soon as someone starts like, is this a potential person I'm gonna love? His body might go into a tizzy. We don't want that to happen, right? So let's see what comes up here. Okay, there's some type of energy here. Let's see. Yeah, there's something mental here. Okay, so the first thing that comes up is you have a memory field. Yeah, so this is what a memory field is picture like a bunch of clouds in front of your eyes, and it's like you can easily access traumatic memories, and there's different types. If I say, for example, is this all your memories in general? Your body says no. Is this a specific event? No. Similar events. There we go. So it's similar events throughout life. Okay, so then I can even ask this. I'll say, what's the theme of these events here? Let's see what this is real quick. Yeah. So it's defensiveness. Does that kind of ring a bell? Kind of like,
yes,
just
that's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
So basically, Todd, as soon as he thinks about loving relationships, he's like, think of all the times he was holding his ground. And he's like, that doesn't make me feel safe. I'll say, is there something below this memory field? His body says no. So let's go ahead and just remove this memory field. So his body stops, keep accessing those moments there. If you now feel safe with loving relationships, your body still says no. So let's see what else you got here. Some other energy here. Yeah, you have an allergy to something. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so you have an idea intolerance. So with this guy is so you can have an allergy to something. Like as soon as a subject comes up in his life that he sees, in his case, it's not that he'll get triggered. There's 2 types. An allergy is where you get triggered, and intolerance is where your stress hormones start showing up. So you start getting like sleepy, maybe headaches. You get overwhelmed, stuff like that. So I'm just gonna ask you quick. The question is this idea intolerance, let's just say in general, does that have to do with loving relationships? See, interesting, your body says no. Is it a thought? No. Is it emotion? It's an emotion. So there's a certain emotion that as soon as you start feeling, your body can go into overdrive of stress, okay? So I'm gonna find out, is the word in the emotion code chart, your body said yes. Okay, let's see what emotion this is real quick. Yeah. So, okay, so that's interesting. So it's discouragement. Okay, so does that make sense? So it's like as soon as you feel like someone's letting you down, do you get that way? Do you feel like if someone who's really important to you, that you love, you care, and they're letting you down, is it possible that stress hormones start kind of flaring up and you get kind of?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, is there anything else below this idea intolerance? Actually, there is. Okay, so there's something kind of fueling that. Okay, so we're just gonna see what's below that real quick. If you guys have any questions down there, let's get, maybe Todd can answer for you while I'm doing this. Let me see what else I find here. Okay, there's something mental here. Okay, you have a will to. Okay, so so in the body code, there's this energy called will to. It goes will to ... And this is the last thing I'll release from Todd here. I'm putting him on the spot. He didn't expect this, but that's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? Right. just, do a 1-2 punch, Anyway,
Yep.
so
punch me right in the gut. No, just kidding. You're healing me. That's good. It's awesome.
Okay, so it's will to what? Let's see what this is here. Interesting. So will to hide your true self. Okay, interesting. So will to hide your true self.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that saying, Todd, where you're like, you bring the worst out in me?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the reality is so if that's happening, what are you hiding? Your true self, So maybe this might have been a relationship. I don't know. We'll keep that on the hush hush. Well, no, actually, let me ask this question. Let's say, is there something below this will to hide true self? No. Let's find out where this came from real quick. See, 40, 30, 20, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's around 27-ish. Okay. So you probably know what that is around that time, where maybe like somebody was bringing out not the best version of you. Does that kind of just ring?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So is it the person that you're thinking about right now? Here's what's kind of cool too about the body code is that if Todd was a very private person, unlike a therapist who's trying to like grind in and drill as far as they can, I can just say, is it the person you're thinking about right now? And sometimes it'll say, no, it's not, Todd. There's somebody else it's somebody else. But in this case, the muscle tested, it said, no, it's exactly who you're thinking about. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this will to hide true self. And I'm also going to say, is there something else contributing to this idea intolerance of whenever you feel discouragement? No. So let's go ahead and remove this idea intolerance so your body's open, that if for some reason you start feeling discouragement from people, because it's going to happen, it's not going to make you feel totally stressed, which then will make you unsafe to relationships again. So do you have any questions at all, kind of what we did so far?
No, it's great. It's great. Yeah. I mean, that's been definitely my issue for sure, for defensiveness, which also could cause anger too. And once you're like, why, like that whole question of why. And so I love it.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this for you, and then I'm going to make it safe. Your body feels totally safe with loving relationships. And then if you can, maybe post it on your Facebook, post it on the Art of Becoming, and let's just be vulnerable. Like let's just post on there, be like, I guess I'm now safe to be in relationships, and then just put it out there. And I think it might be very, very powerful for people to see. And I know obviously you don't really care about being vulnerable because that's a form of strength, So you want to end with anything? Did you want to share anything with anybody before we get off here?
Yeah, it's just great on what you do, and I just want to highlight and just edify the fact that you can do what you just did. And if anyone obviously doesn't understand what you do, just do what I did and get a session with an energy healer. I know my first session with you was more on the physical side in 2020 in January. I knew you took like my lower back pain away, but it was there for like 5-6 years now. I haven't had it since January of 2020. I'm not even kidding, right? And I'm not getting paid to say this either. So I'm just saying it because it's true. But it's just amazing what the emotion code and body code really does to someone emotionally and physically, literally your whole body. So I just want to recommend it to anybody. I have this done on me every single week. When I don't have it done on me every single week, my life is like in a tailspin. So it's not therapy. You're not just talking about your problems. You don't even notice how Emmanuel said, who is this person? I'm not saying anything. It doesn't matter. I'm not even telling Emmanuel. I know. And that's what's most important. So you're totally protected and you should feel secure when you're doing a session. I'm doing one live in front of all of you. So I feel pretty secure and safe, even doing it live.
Awesome. Well, I'm so grateful we can be here. And Todd, thank you for all your leadership and all the influence that you provide at Inside Out Institute. It's always good to just be around people that inspire you and you just want to be more, And so I'm grateful that you're open to this. I mean, some people, I just wanted to share this last thing, is that some people are so ahead in life that they won't allow themselves to get more ahead.
Yeah.
People think that there's a ceiling to happiness. I remember Juan Madera once told me, he's like, hey, I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty happy with what's going on. And I'm like, there's levels of happiness, right? Would you be okay to open yourself up to those higher levels? And he told me, he said, you know what? Ever since we've been working together, now I finally get emotional and I cry. I never used to have that. And now it's giving me higher levels of happiness. So you don't know what you don't know,
That's true. So true.
So I'm so grateful for this. And I'm grateful that everyone got to tune in here. If anyone wants to get more information about the Inside Out Institute, or maybe they're looking for healing or coaching, feel free to comment below IOI. And then somebody will go reach out there to you. And we're here to help you out.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Take care.